Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Delvige, and today I wanted to kind of make a different type of video than you would normally see on my channel. I just opened up Audacity on my computer and I hit record, and everything that I'm about to say in this video is just going to be my general reaction, my general thoughts, and just some real stuff, real talk, guys, because the topic of today's video isn't about design, it's not about Photoshop and what my channel is normally about. It's about a game that I've kind of grown up with the past couple years. It's about a game that I have devoted thousands of hours into, a game that I have played with friends, that I have tried my best to have other people join in and kind of share the same experience. And it's like nowadays I'm asking myself the same question. Hey, is this a game that I would recommend to everybody, like all my friends, to play with? And it's like, well, so much has changed over the past few years that I don't think this is the same game that I first fell in love with back in open beta on PlayStation. I've played this game since open beta. I was like the #2 Genji on PlayStation up until about the end of 2017, and then I switched to PC and I got to top 500 on PC last season. I have multiple accounts as well. I've played at all ranks. I've played all facets and assets of the game. So I do kind of feel like I'm credible to an extent when I give my opinion. Obviously I'm not a pro player, but I'm a decent player, and I've kind of seen the ins and outs, and I've seen how this game has formed and shaped throughout the years. So today I just wanted to kind of give my opinion on where the game is going and what I personally would do to kind of fix it and get it back turning in the right direction, because at the end of the day, while Blizzard still has their reputation, the game is never going to truly be dead. But there's so much missed potential in my opinion right now, so let's just get straight into it. I guess the main thing that I would want to kind of point out is the implementation of heroes that don't require as much mechanical skill, countering the heroes that do require mechanical skill. Obviously, the most clean example would be Brigitte. Now, Brigitte was introduced a little while ago, and essentially dive was taking over the pro scene. It was all over the ladder, the ranked ladder. It was the way to play the game, right? You'd have Winston D.Va, Tracer Genji. I don't remember the support combination at the time, but it changed frequently. But my point is, I think Blizzard just wanted to introduce a hero into the game that could kind of stop Tracer and Genji and all of the backline harassers from kind of just running over a team. And I think one thing that people kind of forget is that those heroes, the DPS heroes specifically, took so much time to master. It's not like you could just pick up and play them like you could play a Brigitte. You could play a Soldier 76 even, right? There's so much positioning and just game sense that you have to build up over time to play those heroes at a high level effectively. And then you introduce a hero like Brigitte, like Doomfist to an extent, although I do believe the community's perception of Doomfist is a little flawed, but that's another topic. You introduce these heroes that counter raw mechanical skill in a game that was designed initially to be a first-person shooter. It kind of mixes the concoction of what this game is actually about.
Any ability that makes you unable to play the fucking game. You need to get a brig.
I am a brig. I literally can't do anything. I literally can't do anything because of Sombra and all this fucking CC.
And in my personal opinion, I'm completely fine with the game adding heroes that don't require as much mechanical skill, because I believe that it broadens the game's horizons to multiple different people, right? Because not everybody's going to be super interested in, hard aim heroes. You're going to have people like the people who like playing heroes like Mercy, the people who like playing heroes like Brigitte. That's cool. You're giving those type of people an avenue to kind of have fun in the game. The issue is, in my opinion, is where you have those heroes being better than the heroes that take an extreme amount of mechanical skill at dueling. A better example of a hero that doesn't take as much mechanical skill would be Winston. Now, the thing with Winston is he's kind of all in. If you dive a squishy in a bad position, you're going to get punished. Whereas if you play Brigitte, you can basically go into whatever position you want and you can outduel every DPS in the game. You can provide that off healing role in your team, or even you could provide the main heal role in your team if you're going with a really Death Ball-esque comp. And then you have a shield so that you can't be poked from range damage. You have a CC that stops ultimates that require close range engagement. It's a hero that is probably the least mechanical based hero in the game that provides so much value to the three prongs of the game, which is tanking, support, and damage, right? Or space creation instead of tanking, because she's not really a tank, she just kind of commands space. This whole past few minutes I've just been talking about Brigitte. You know, obviously there's Doomfist as well. Doomfist takes skill, I'm gonna put that out, you know. He's more in line of like a Genji or a Tracer, but you know, nowadays when you look at the hero roster, it's like, well, why would you play Genji when you can play Doomfist? He has 50 HP more than Genji. He has better mobility in my opinion, if you know how to use it properly. His ultimate, the only thing that the Doomfist isn't as good as Genji about is his ultimate, right? That's the only thing, and even his ultimate can get free kills on squishies. I know they're changing that, but my point is that I'm fine with the game having heroes that don't require as much mechanical skill, but they shouldn't be able to command so much of, what's the right way to put this? They shouldn't be better at dueling damage dealers that require that skill. And then of course you go on to a broader topic, the ranked system. I mean, back when the game was new, people didn't really care about balancing the team because the game was new. Like, people didn't know the heroes as well. People were just kind of, well, I know this is the case for me as well, but I'm sure it was for the community because there wasn't as many videos on this type of topic when the game first came out. What I'm speaking about is getting into a game, and because there's no matchmaking system in place, the competitive mode, it's just not competitive because of the matchmaking system that's implemented as it currently stands. You can get matched on a team with 5 people that primarily play DPS, and then the other team will be matched with a perfect 2-2 or a perfect team that can play Goats Comp, and they just run you over because that's the meta and you don't have a team that can kind of, you know, compete. And you would say, well, you know, a lot of the time those people on DPS will fill. That's true, but are they going to be filling to the role that's equal to their SR? So say you're in a Masters game, right? And you're matched with like 5 people that play DPS at a Masters level, and they're all willing to swap and play what the team needs. So you have one guy on Winston, another guy on Diva, one guy on like Ana, one guy on Lucio, right? So you have a decent team comp. And you just get rolled because the other team has players that play those heroes and play those roles to the SR that they're playing at, whereas you have people on your team that aren't familiar with those roles filling for the team, but they're just not good enough. And that type of system right there, not only is it a bad matchmaking system, but it creates toxicity in the game. Because it's like, well, you can see the flaws in your team, but you can't say anything because it's just labeled as toxic. The matchmaking system itself is built around promoting toxicity. This is something that I kind of really agreed with in Seagull's video, which is a pro player, been around in the Overwatch scene as long as I can remember. He was like, you know, these new heroes that are being implemented into the game, they're commanding the game in such a way where it's like, you cannot play a certain hero at the same skill rating or you just lose. A good example of this would be Brigitte versus Tracer. If you have a 3700 Brigitte and you have a 3700 Tracer, the Tracer's output for the team is going to be so minimal just because the Brigitte is played. There's not a whole lot of mechanical output. Now obviously if you're like a 4.2, 4.3k player, you're going to have an easier time, but that's not how the matchmaking system really works. You're placed with people relative equal skill. And when you have a hero that just completely overwhelms you, it's not fun. It promotes toxicity because your teammate could be playing that hero, actively soft throwing the game because the game is built like that, fundamentally. There are certain heroes that you can play that shut down playstyles. And it sucks when the heroes that shut down playstyles require less mechanical skill than their counterparts. That's another issue, I would say. Luckily, there are ways to solve this, in my opinion. A role queue, while it will definitely have its negatives and drawbacks to the game, I think is a good option to at least try. and I hope that Blizzard will eventually implement some type of system in order to address this specifically. And then of course you go to the other aspect of it where you have the heroes that are, it's not quite hard countering, but it's like providing you so much with a disadvantage that it's not even fun to play anymore, right? Right now the game doesn't have an immense cast of heroes. There's only a couple of heroes that require attention in that specific department, so they still have time to kind of balance the game in a way where it doesn't become out of control and there's too many factors and it's just not able to be changed. Because the game is still in the stage where it's being shaped and molded to be what it's supposed to be, in my opinion at least. Because there's not, you know, it's not a MOBA. There's not 100 heroes. There's, what, 30 now? So they still have time to address each individual hero and kind of adjust it to how they want the game to go on. So in my opinion, to kind of address the Brigitte situation, you need to remove one avenue from her. She's too good at tanking and commanding space. She's not too good at healing, but she provides it as well as a support hero. And honestly, I would even argue that her armor pack is a little bit ridiculous, because you could have like a Genji on a Zenyatta, and you just throw an armor pack and the Genji is just out of position, probably going to die because he doesn't get that kill to reset his dash, which is just annoying. It doesn't take skill to hit. You just go in the general area. It's like a nano boost, basically. It doesn't take skill to hit. It doesn't take it's just, I'm getting frustrated just talking about it. You have that, right? And then you have the damage output that she does, which is just crazy. Like she outduels everything in the game, bar like, I'm trying to think. I'm going through the hero roster in my mind right now. A Widowmaker from long range, I guess. A Reinhardt. A fully charged Zarya, maybe. It's frustrating. In order to balance Brigitte, in my opinion, you gotta remove one of those three prongs. Limit her tanking, her ability to command space. You have to either do that or limit her damage. Because you can't limit her healing unless you put her in a DPS role, because she's a support at the end of the day, according to the game. You can't take away her healing. You gotta mess with one of those other two, in my opinion. The game, in its current state, doesn't have a bright future. Regardless of how many heroes they add, regardless of how many maps, game modes, etc., the ranked game mode does not have a bright future. And that's what Blizzard wants to use to build Path to Pro. To build, you know, it's like a fundamental groundwork system to build competitive players up to the pro scene. And the way the matchmaking and the ranked system work right now, it just doesn't provide that. It's absolutely nothing like pro play. Because in pro play you have the teamwork, the communication, and people are willing to swap and are good at the roles that they're swapping to. And I think the game badly needs a mode that's catered towards that type of player. There are multiple avenues to fix that, obviously. But at the end of the day, in order for Overwatch to succeed as an esport in the future, I should say, it needs some type of implementation for the ranked mode to be more competitive. That's basically it. I hope that that Overwatch and Blizzard upgrade the game in that facet moving into 2019, because I do believe that 2019, that's it. There's no more time to kind of wait and see what Blizzard's going to do. This is the last chance before Overwatch is just seen or deemed as it's just one of those games. It's not going to be like a top tier esport, and I want it to be. I want it to also appeal to casual gamers as well. It's in the hands of Blizzard. It's in the hands of Jeff Kaplan, the game director, if you don't know who he is. Yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like rating. This is like one of the best games ever made, and I want to see it succeed so much. Leave your thoughts, opinions, concerns in the comment section below, and until next time, my name's Delvige, and I'm out. Peace.